Hello again. This is part five of From Me to You. Um, Parts one and four were just kind of. So they were just totally unplanned. Just started talking. So I was thinking maybe I ought to try to organize these a little bit. So I'm going to give this the title From Me to You, Grief and Gratitude. Yeah. Okay, grief and gratitude. That'll give me a little focus for this short clip. We got to start with grief. Mm. By the way, pardon the pipe. I smoked a pipe all my life. Well, at least started in my 20s, and you know, it's just part of me. Mm. So, grief, loss, uh, and I want to dedicate this to Mr. Anderson Cooper, whose podcast, All There Is, great title, about grief, so moved me. But let's start out with the parable of the mustard seed. You know that one. It deals with grief because Martha and Mary were really mad at Jesus because they said, had you been here, your best friend Lazarus would not have died. And so Jesus goes and, you know the story, raises Lazarus from the dead. And somewhere along in there, I think he says, if you had but faith but the size of a grain of mustard seed, you could say to this mountain, be thou removed, and it would move. Wow. That's beyond me. I had never seen anybody move a mountain through their faith. That's a, but just a grain of mustard seed of it. Gah. We must not have much faith if it ain't the size, which is, I understand mustard seed just a tiny little thing. I can't understand the mustard seed in the famous story from Buddha. Okay, here it is. So, Buddha has become known in India, particularly northern India, as the awakened one. Word has gotten around about him, just like it did about Jesus, and just like it did about these other world teachers, Jagat gurus. So word has gotten around about Buddha. And one day, he's kind of, I picture him camped blissfully in a forest there, with surrounded by these blissed out acolytes and his beloved Ananda, who was like John to Jesus. And into the camp bursts this crying, sobbing woman who has just lost her young son. Oh, that's grief. To be a mother who loses a child. So she is weeping and wailing and says to Buddha, I cannot live any longer. I want to die. And she tells him that her son has gone. And she says, oh, awakened one, please bring him back to life. She says, she's like Martha and Mary, particularly Martha coming up to Jesus, you know. So Buddha says, he has compassion. He says, this I will do if you bring me just one mustard seed from the village, nearby village. And the woman is delighted, and he says, but the mustard seed, for this to work, the mustard seed must come from a house that has known no death, no grief, and no loss. Okay? Woman says, oh, thank you, and goes to the village immediately and asks at the first store she comes to, have you got a mustard seed? Oh, yeah, we got a sack of mustard seeds here. You just want one? And they said, she said, yes, but first, have you had any loss in this house? Any grief? And they said, oh, yeah, well, my mother died recently. And, woman says, okay, thank you. Moves to the next house. Same question, same answer. Every house she goes to has known grief. It's a common denominator. Everybody who lives knows grief. It connects us all. So the woman comes back to Buddha with no mustard seed, but her face has changed. Her countenance is at peace. So that's the Buddha. And she comes and thanks Buddha. So that's the Buddha's mustard seed parable. And Jesus is as great as well, But it's another story. That's all about faith. And friendship and love and grief. So grief connects us all. We all, wherever we are, in China, in America, in Europe, in Antarctica, I don't know there, but everywhere, people who are born know grief unless they die way too early, and then they cause grief. So If we are loved, if there is love, where there is love, there's grief. And you got to love it all. I mean, we enjoy this existence, like Stephen Colbert taught me. Well, we got to enjoy it all. Love that which hurt you the most. Even that, yea, beloved, even that. Because if love is all, then love must be for all. So that's the idea. Grief to gratitude. From bottom to top. Because when you get this, what replaces grief? Gratitude. And gratitude is the key. The attitude, the state of being in gratitude opens every locked door. What more to say about gratitude? Anyway, thank you. That's grief and gratitude from me to you.